Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today on Customer States What, we have a 2004 Toyota Sienna. What are we doing? What does it look like we're doing? We're replacing an AC compressor, some drive belts, water pump, a timing belt tensioner, timing belt idlers. Very good. First things first, obey your thirst. No. We recovered the AC system. We got our coolant cap off, and now we're going to take it up top and start draining some fluids. Very good. Alright, so here we are in the engine bay. We already have released our petcock and we are draining the coolant into a bucket, as you can see in here. Now we're going to loosen the drive belt to the alternator right here. Now what you have to do is you have to loosen 12mm here, and then this is your adjuster right here. So, I repeat, crack that free first, and then this guy is your adjuster. To help move the alternator and help adjust, you crack this 14 right here free, and then you'll be able to free it up and maneuver the alternator up and down. So, let's do that right now. Very good. Boom, we saw how the alternator moved down. Now we got a flippity floppity belt that we can just, well, we should be able to take it off unless we need to maneuver the alternator a little bit further. Come on. You know what, let me get a little bit more. If I can get more, I don't know, can I? Can I? Oh, drop the camera. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we got a little bit more. Sometimes all you need is just a little bit. Alright, we got the belt off. Very good. Now we can take it back up top and see what we have to do to get the AC compressor off. Okay, guys, there is a bracket right here that we have to take off. The harness, there's a connector that goes to the AC clutch right here. You have to unplug. There's 4 14mm bolts and a 12mm right here that holds the bracket to this bracket. Now we're ready to remove the AC compressor, but we got to figure out how we're gonna get it out. Whether it's through here or if I have to remove the pan. It's looking like I might have to just remove this support here, and I'll be able to get it out this way, but yeah, let's find out. Let's yeah. Alright, we ended up taking out that support because it wouldn't come out, so now it should just come right out. Very good. Alright, we got our new compressor out the way, in the way it came. It's so much easier getting it in than coming out. It really is. It really is. We'll set up this bolt right here just to keep it in place. Very good. There's one of the bottom ones. Yeah, this car is in such good condition. The hardware is still gold. The hardware still identifies as hardware. You believe that? Where's that bracket? Let's get it all in right now. Alright. Another guy right here. Goes in on top. Start the threads, and then the 12 that goes in on the side right here. Look at that, very good. Now we'll just put some German torque on those bolts and continue. Very good. Well, alright guys, we're all mounted back up. Harness is all in place. Bracket is back in place. Support is back in place, and now the screw jack is no longer holding up the subframe. Now we're going to install our lines. Very good. Here we have one O-ring. We're going to remove it. Very good. Now we're going to install the new O-ring. Very good. Here's our other line. New O-ring. Very good. Now I'll usually put a little bit of PAG oil on there just to lubricate it so it gets in the hole a whole lot easier. Yes, that's a giggity. Alright, we're ready for install. Let's put this guy in first. One. Here's up. I'm gonna lift the alternator up a little bit. Sneak that guy right there. Push it down. Very good. Now we'll just get the mounting hardware on those lines. Get it tight. Get it right. Vacuum the system. Pressurize it. Make sure it holds pressure, and then we're going to move on to the timing belt. Very good. Alright guys, here we are in the wheel well. There is a 19mm nut that we did take off there, and we sprayed some jism in the hole. And now we're going to take the power steering belt off. What we do is, our adjuster's right here. You crack this guy free, and what you do is you take a pry bar and you push it up. So that's what we're going to do. Dan-in, 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 dan-in. Is it going to work? Oh yeah, it did. So now we could take the belt off and double mount. We could take the crank pulley off. But first, we have to rotate the engine and put it at top dead center. Alright guys, one of the tips of the video, after you get this bracket off for the adjustment of the power steering belt, you want to bring the power steering pump all the way back down so you have access to your timing belt tensioner bolts. Alright guys, here's another tip. These two right here are some of the hardest bolts to get out on this job right here. The reason why is corrosion will get in on the threads and down the shaft down here, and they'll be almost impossible to get out without breaking either the bolt, or it'll break in the bracket. Then you gotta get a new bracket. So what I recommend is spray as much PB Blaster in there as possible. There's two ways going about it. You could either attempt to break it free with a breaker bar and then just spray as much PB Blaster in there as possible and then hit it with the gun, or you just go ahead and hit it with the gun, man, because it's gonna break. It's gonna break, really. And but as you can see, I did spray some PB Blaster in attempts to get some jism up in there, and we saved both bolts. The threads they're looking good, very good. All right, we're up to the top timing cover. Come out of the socket. You know there's a guy right there. I'm not going to be able to reach it. Break this one free. There's one back there I can't reach with this. Got to do it by hand. Got to give it the hand. So now that we have the timing belt exposed, or at least the upper timing belt cover is now removed, we can see our timing marks on the camshaft. We got one here, and there's probably, yep, There's one right there. And on our crank, we're lined up on the 0 with a little notch on the crank. But we're not at top dead center. These lines, or this line right here, has to correlate with this little notch right here. So we gotta turn the crank 360 degrees. And then everything will be lined up. Then we can remove all the other things. We can remove the crank pulley, we can remove this bracket, and then we could remove the timing belt tensioner. And then once all this is removed, we'll gain access to the water pump and see how badly it really was leaking. The water pump is that guy right there. Well, let's continue. Watch my crank because that's more important. Once the crank is where it needs to be, then we check our cams. Alright, we're on 0 at there. And we are lined up there. Very good. So let me show you guys if we could see it or not. There's a notch right there, correlates to a 0 on the timing cover, and then we have a notch right here on the cam sprocket, and we got a little bit of divot right there. So now we know this car, or excuse me, this engine is at top dead center and is safe to remove the timing belt. Very good. Alright, let's see if we get that crank bolt out, and we'll see if we need a puller to get the pulley out. Alright, and I did see that crank move a little bit, so let's see if we can just... Alright, good. Alright, spray a little jism in there. Give it a... Alright, will I get lucky? Nope. I gotta get the puller out. Shit. Alright, here we have our puller set. Oh. Let's put that back right there. We're all set up. And now we're gonna pull the pulley off. Very good. Alright.
It might be the same Enduro. They kind of use the Enduro a little bit.
It's coming on. And of course, once we have everything off, we're gonna double check our timing marks, because there are marks underneath the crank pulley. There's a sprocket there with markings we could correlate stuff to. Come on, right there. There we go. There we go. Very good. Alright. Now, just like the Honda timing belt, if you could see, it's shaped like this. You always want the tapered facing away from the timing belt, or it'll just chew into the timing belt. Now, the mark that I was talking about that's in here, and it looks like we're right on the money. There's a dot here, and there's a line right there, if you can see it. We're good to go. Alright guys, here's the reason why we took that nut off. to get some more room to get the bracket off. Boom. And what that's gonna do, look at that. We got the bracket off, and here's our water pump right here. We can take our belt off now too. Let's take our belt off. Oh, very good. Very, very good. Belt is off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this idler off here. We're going to take this nut off, this nut off, and yeah, we're going to be able to get the water pump out, but we also got to take these studs out, because no way can we clear the studs with the wall right here. So yeah, let's keep going. Alright, am I going to get lucky with these studs? Let's find out. That's one. Alright. Two. Oh yeah, that's always a good sign. Alright, very good. Let's get those studs out. Very good. One more down there somewhere? Where is it? It's the one that hides, I think. Or is it ready to come out? Let's see. Nope. Let's get a mirror down there just in case. Alright, activating the wah-wah. So we'll let that drain out. Yeah, we'll let that drain, and I'm gonna go have a snack. Very good. Alright guys, so here's the trick to get the water pump out without taking the cam gears out. Now that we have that idler and those two nuts out, take your pry bar, put it behind the cover just enough, and pry. And then boom, you got the water pump out. And our leak, it was right there. You got all that dried coolant. Could have been from up here, but it's not. Came from the gasket. Now let's get the old gasket out, brake clean everything, and get the surface prepped for all the new parts. Very good. Alright, so pretty much the way it came out is the way it goes in. You got the new gasket there. Stick your pry bar behind here and just catch the studs. And now that I'm filming it, I'm going to struggle. Watch. Yeah. Yeah. Freaking wonderful. Alright. Now that we got that in. Now that we rode the struggle bus all the way, let's get the hardware in. And once we get all this hardware in, we'll go look up the torque spec on this, and we'll torque it down. Very good. Alright, torque spec is 8 Newton meters, so we're just gonna... Very good. Let's double check the others. Oh, that went 8.5. That's not that bad. That's not that bad. That's good.
Screaming up there.
That's good. And the last one. Very good. Alright guys, so now we're up to putting the timing belt on, and we always start at the crank first. Now, on the timing belt itself, as you can see here, there are arrows. They are supposed to be pointing away from the engine. Dotted line goes on the crank. There's a dot on the sprocket right here that lines up with this. Our cams are the solid lines. Very good. See, I'm going to hold it with my hand, and I'm going to bring the camera in. Let's turn the light on. There. You see the line correlates with the dot on the crank. Very good. Alright, very good. Let's continue. Got this there. This should line up if everything goes well. Let's see. Oh yeah. Is it? Yep, that's very good. It's lined up. Now we're gonna get CSW's special tool. This guy right here. Put that one there. And we're gonna move on and set the belt on the other cam over there. Very good. Alright, let's get up in there. Let's set this guy up here. Our line is right here. Just gotta go over one more. There we go. Get it all the way around. Good. Oh, oh, oh. Let's get our special tool. Alright. Now we could install our idler and torque it to spec. Very good. So now that we have our belt routed, marks are lined up, now we can install our idler right here, torque it to spec, and then we could bring it back up top, install the idler for the tensioner, and then install the tensioner and pull our grenade pin. Very good. Alright, torque spec on this guy is 43 Newton meters. One. Very good. Alright guys, tip of the video, or another tip. Here's our idler that our tensioner pushes up against. Here's the bolt that we're going to reuse, right? What we got to be careful of is there's a washer that goes on the other side of it. So we'll get the brand new one out. Right? Bolt goes through. Washer goes on the back. Now, oh wait a second. Alright, let's do that again. Goes this way. That would have been awkward. Alright, so now we're ready to go into the car. Very good. Torque spec on this guy is 34 newtons. 34 Sir Isaac newtons. Once. Twice. Very good. Now, when you're doing the timing belt, the reason why you're going this way first, then over the front cam, then the second cam, and then back down, you want to have all the timing belt slack on the tensioner side. So when we pull the grenade, it's going to take up all that tension. Very good. Alright guys, another tip of the video. You want to have the power steering pump down, and with the grenade pin you work it through here. That way you'll be able to install, or at least put it in, somewhat in the proper position. Oh yeah, see? You'll be able to install it with no problem. Very good. So let's get that tensioner in, torque down, and pull the grenade pin. Alright, our tensioner is rated at 27 Wayne Newtons, actually. A little different. Let's see if I can get it. It's really tight in there. Giggity. Alright, double check. Come on. Very good. Now, Now we got to move the bracket up so we can gain access to this bolt here. Alright, let's get this one. Oh, it's still a little loose. Is it? There's so much stuff in the way.
Thank you. A 5-quarter.
Double check.
Now go. Perfect.
Very good. Alright. Oh wow, that's in there. Alright, let me get some vice grips on that. Well, alright. Pin has been pulled. We have tension on our timing belt. Now we have to rotate the engine 720 degrees, 2 full rotations. But first we got to take our special tools off the cams. Let's see. Let's see if I can reach up in there. Here's one. Let's see. Can I get the back one? There's it. Yeah, there it is. Very good, and I didn't even have to draw hair around it to find it. Alright. We got the crank bolt installed with the spacer. We got this spacer here just in case. I don't think the timing belt, well, I know for a fact the timing belt's not going to go anywhere. This guy's lined up there. That guy's lined up right there. We already did that double check. We're just triple checking before we start to turn the engine. So now we know everything's where it needs to be. Let's rotate this engine. Alright, 2 full rotations of the crank. Now the lines on the belt, they'll never line up again. It's like 1 in a million shot, they'll line up again. What we're looking for is, after we're all said and done, we want to make sure our cam lines up, we want to make sure our crank lines up. Once we know that, then we know the engine is safe to put back together. Alright, we're coming up. Alright, we got our line right here. And very good, that's where we want to be. So now let me check this guy here. Let me double check the one back here that's lined up. Let's take it down to the floor. What we're looking for here is we're looking for that dot right there. You see that dot? It lines up with that little notch. We are good to go. Alright guys, remember, before you put the lower timing cover on, this washer has to go. And remember, it's curved. Curve has to go facing out or it'll tear into the timing belt and you will have a very bad day. Okay guys, now that we have the power steering belt on, we're going to put the alternator belt on. And the way to tension it, since we still have the bolt over here loose, we still got the 12mm on the tensioner here loose. Now we're going to tighten it. Oh, it's going to get a little loud. Let me move the camera actually. Here we go. Damn it, stay on there. Alright, let's check our belt deflection. Now the way to check belt deflection, guys, 90-degree turn, 90-degree turn, then it can't go any other way. And you check that at the longest point. So now we know for sure our belt is fully tensioned properly. Now we're going to tighten this guy, and we're going to tighten that guy down there. And very good. Alright, very good guys. We have the AC system going under vacuum, getting ready for a charge. Now, to adjust the power steering belt, to tighten it, You have this guy loose, and what you do is you set your pry bar to on top of the washer, you pry down, and then you tighten that guy, and then you check your belt deflection. Very good. Now we're gonna get this guy on. Well, alright guys, we are out of parts. The only thing we got left is a radiator cap, but we have this all set up. I didn't want to take the whole cowl assembly out, so we got a bunch of elbows. And we got our overflow anti-spill going. AC is charged to spec. Everything is ready to go. Will it go boom? Will it start? Will it run? Let's find out.
Yeah, anyways, that's the wrong bit of it. So, let first. Put it in the car when
Let's start it right up. Very good. Very good. Now let's get the timing belt sticker on there. What do you say? And then CSW. If you guys don't know what to do yet, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification for further content.